All right, so night one of NWA 74, wearing my Crockett Cup t-shirt. I like watching NWA wrestling. One of the things I really like about it is they do a lot, so there's very little in the way of filler, which was nice. I'm gonna cover probably matches. They did some promo packages every now and then because it's the 74th anniversary, so it makes sense. We began with EC3 versus Big Strong Mims. Mims coming back from both a shoulder injury as well as a concussion from the previous pay-per-view. Actual pay-per-view, they don't say premium live event. And he kind of got squashed by EC3. And I was like, oh, okay. And EC3 looks like $1,000,000 in tremendous shape. And then he'd cut one of his, like control your narrative sort of promos afterwards. Then Tom Latimer came down. Now, I hope I get this correct. If I don't, sound off in the comments. Tom Latimer is Charlotte Flair's ex-husband. That's the domestic abuse, domestic altercation era of her life. He was like, I'm glad you're here. It helped you get clean, helped you get sober, helped you find your wife. You still have more demons to battle. I will rip them all out of you. And I was like, I liked that. It was less of a goofy EC3 and it was more like his control your narrative is some serious stuff. Yes, and I do have notes to remind me of all the matches because there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 matches. That's a lot of matches. Some were stipulations, some were gauntlet matches. So, solid opener, got the crowd kind of invested, and I was, all right, here we go. Beelzebub Bedlam match, which was the Ill-Begotten, which is Jeremiah Plunkett, Alex Taylor, and Danny Deals. Okay. Taking on the Miserably Faithful, which now has like a D, because they gave them an acronym. So that is Gags the Lucha Gimp. Yes, that's a series of words that go together to make a wrestler. Judas, and your pal Sal Ronaldo. So, hardcore match. Chairs, garbage cans, It is a spot with a 20-foot ladder. And Sal Ronaldo goes for a top rope superplex with Alex Taylor. And I can't figure out if it was just, Alex couldn't get his feet up high enough, Sal was in the right spot, or how this went wrong. Or this is why Alex had the weight belt on. I don't know. So they go for the superplex. And instead of falling backwards into the ring, Sal kind of falls kind of sideways into the ring, but fully lands in the ring. Alex Taylor hits spine first on the top rope. Bends the way the back isn't supposed to bend, and then flops into the ring. I was like, she's been broken in half. I mean, the rope doesn't have that much slack to it, nor does the human back. And I was like, oh God, hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he's okay. And, he did end up leaving under his own. He was able to walk away. Miserably Faithful got the victory after just annihilating Danny Deals. Good night for Father James Mitchell and his group. Adonis, who we know as Chris Masters, versus Odinson. So Odinson, guy has a fantastic look, sprays this weird gray stuff into his mouth, which he calls the Purpose. So Odinson is from Asgard. He has the Mjolnir style tattoo on his chest. Nice hoss match back and forth. Adonis goes for the Master Lock, at which time Odinson has his spray can of gray stuff, sprays him in the face, DQ, and I was like, oh, DQ finish. I don't recall seeing lots of DQ finishes in the NWA. But, filler match, worked fine. Homicide versus Carrie Morton. Carrie Morton is, of course, Ricky Morton's son. This was their junior heavyweight championship match. Homicide is doing some fantastic work currently. He's always been great. This is just some fantastic work. every time he's in a match, he puts a title on the line, which that's the true fighting champion, but not the, oh, you beat me, no, you can now face, no. If you beat him, you win the title. I love that. It's really well done. He begins his matches wrestling, a very just basic kind of like face style. Like, oh, we'll shake hands, have a good sequence of moves. As the match progresses farther and farther and farther, he starts, now all of a sudden it's, I'll grab a handful of hair. Maybe a thumb to an eye. Maybe it looks like it might have been kind of low, but not caught by the referee. Which then allows Carrie Morton to just play babyface in peril the majority of the match. Have a nice flurry of offense, get stuffed. Nice flurry of offense, get stuffed. Make the crowd think you're going to win. Miss a move here or there, get stuffed. Ultimately, not be victorious. So Homicide retained. Thought it was really well done, really well paced. Matt Cardona, who was the former NWA champion but had to relinquish the title due to injury, gets to pick his chosen opponent. He picks Rolando Freeman, who is the bigger brother of another wrestler. Rolando Freeman is like 5 foot tall. So Matt Cardona, of course, is like, oh, he does the test of strength spot, does all the things you would do to be like, oh, I'm the bigger guy, I'm the bigger heel, here's my heel shtick, let's do this. Has Rolando beaten, does the 1, 2, by the hair. Ref, he keeps on kicking out. Goes for a your number 1 cover. Rolando flips him over, gets a crucifix pin, 1, 2, 3. Crowd goes ballistic. I'm like, that's awesome. After Matt Cardona cut, fire promo beforehand, like, I'm amazing, this, that, and the other thing. I was like, that is a great pop the crowd spot. Love it. Berg Invitational. This was a 10-woman gauntlet match where the ways you could be victorious and defeat somebody was over the top rope elimination or pinfall submission. About every 90 seconds, someone came down, won by Max the Impaler. Came down to Max the Impaler and Natalia Markova, and I was like, when it was done, I sat back and I was like, NWA has a really hostile women's division. They have a lot of just large, powerful women, and I'm like, it's interesting. You don't see it in almost any of the division. It has just a huge amount of just big, powerful women. And it works well for Camille because then it gives her other women to size up against. So it's not just her with a massive power advantage. It's her against someone who probably matches her in power and skill. Makes for better matches. So Max now gets a championship opportunity at night 2. Jack Stane versus Scion. Another championship match. This would have been your North American Championship. So you had 2 managers, but both the guys in the rings are heels. The managers get into it, it distracts the ref, which then has the man formerly known as Crimson come down and attack Jack Stane. Jack Stane beat Crimson for the title after he lost a match against him, then attacked him, then cashed in functionally his money in the bank, and then won the title off of him. But Scion didn't want to win that way, so Scion used to be a face, then found out his dad was Austin Idol, so now he's part of Idol Mania Sports Management, in conjunction with the church's money. Or is it in association with Black G's and association church's money? Some combination of that. He didn't want to win that way, so that him and Crimson getting into a little bit, which made Jack Stane get back involved. Scion won, and Scion's new champion. Okay, I like that they took multiple stories, threw them all together in one, and it flowed well. Bully Ray versus Mike Knox, tables match. So the last event, or should I say, the event, the show they did after Always Ready, Mike Knox and VSK came down in the ring. We're talking with Bully Ray. We're like, oh, we had a great time and all that. Then Mike was like, but then you won all these titles in Aces and Eights, and I didn't really do anything. I was just there, and they put Bully Ray through a table. So now this is their match. NWA rules for table match are specifically your opponent has to put you through a table. So none of the like, oh, I fell off, went through a table spot. Bully Ray gets the victory. You know, nice tables match. I liked it. because NWA is not afraid to talk about other wrestling promotions. So Bully Ray kept on going, where's Devon? It's hard to set up tables. And I was like, I love this. Like, you can tell it's a smaller venue. It looked like it was close to being sold out. It's a venue small enough that someone goes to go to the bathroom, you see this big empty seat somewhere. I'm like, all right, good, worked well, kept the crowd moving. And again, you had a male hoss fight. All right, I'm cool with it. Commonwealth Connection were the current NWA Tag Champs to beat La Rebellion. However, due to not being medically cleared, which has hit multiple companies' tag divisions all at the exact same time, like, well, we got a championship match. Hawkesbury, father and son team, taking La Rebellion, former champs. Nice tag match, good back and forth. I still think they go a little bit too heavy on false finishes. I love the look of La Rebellion, and they've got some fantastic moves. They've got, like neckbreaker frog splash combination looks great. Their big finisher, which is like the power bomb into a backstabber. When they get it and it hits perfectly, amazing. But it's one of those moves where like a half second off either way, it just looks horrible. I mean, it's very much a tandem move where it's like when it hits, it's perfect and it looks beautiful. When it's anything except for a sheer perfect move, it's like, I like some of your other tag team moves instead for a finisher. Save that for like your big match finisher, so you're not doing it all the time. Because when it hits clean, beautiful. If they're off by just, it's like, if I begin my move a little bit too soon, you don't jump up as high. This guy weighs just a different amount. It doesn't hit the same way. So, outside interference by Damien Says, who is Bestius Says, father. So, missed. But I will say, I love that when they do a missed spot, especially when it's red, because red mist blends well on most people because you're sweating, you're blown up. When they do the pinfall, and then they either they fully cover the opponent's head or they do the high stack, so the referee just sees the shoulders, you don't see the face. I prefer that. Also, as a green mist, yeah, really bright and vibrant, beautiful to see, great visual. But if you're not covering the opponent's face, the ref is like, 1, 2, why is their face green? 3, and it doesn't work as well. Then we did an in-ring hype moment for Tyrus and Trevor Murdoch. Well done. Great way to hype the matchup. It seems these two guys are two grown men who want to beat the daylights out of each other to show who is the better man. Love it. Great. That's how you hype a wrestling match. Hi, I want your title. You can try to take my title, Sunshine, but I choose if you walk out of here and take this belt with you to Gutfeld, or if I just leave you black and blue. Great. Tell me that they hate each other. Make me want to watch them beat the daylights out of each other. That's it. It's simple. It's honest. It works. Main event, Camille versus Taya Valkyrie. Winner is the holder of the Burke and will go on to night 2 to face Max the Impaler. Again, 2 Haas women. Lots of great, hard-hitting, impactful moves. Spears, power bombs, really just brutal-looking submission holds. Just very, very well-constructed match. And then we get towards the weeds. Now we're getting overbooked. Now we're having, like a ref knockdown spot. Okay, now we're doing belt shots. Now we're doing, three hard stomps to the back of the head. Now we're doing this. Now we're doing that. Now we're doing way, way too many false finishes. Like, I love how Camille works when she was in the ring with someone who's got a little bit more experience to help her, smooth out some of the rough edges. But as the crowd's chanting for Taya Valkyrie, her opponent, I'm like, I wonder if Camille has hit that Cena spot. Where it's going to be how much can this person overcome? This person always wins and retains. I like it where being the very dominant champion. She's the one-time champ. We're looking forward to seeing her match with Max the Impaler. But unless they're going to start telling the story of all of these long matches, her being dragged into the weeds, starting to affect her, and that she's not at 100% in all of her matches, but then she still overcomes with, like, a big spear at the end. The crowd is already starting to kind of turn on her whenever they go on the road. Not so much when they're at their home base of Nashville. So, I mean, really solid match. Great hard-hitting match. Got a little bit too overbooked towards the end for my taste. Even I kind of checked out, and I love women's wrestling, but I was like, Yeah, when the crowd is chanting for the person who is the heel in the match, you've kind of lost the direction you were trying to go. But beyond that, I really enjoy watching the NWA. They do really solid work. It's wrestling the way it was meant to be. Or I guess the way it is meant to be also works too.